What's up, everybody? How's it going? It's your boy MJ. You're now tuned into Let's Talk for a Minute. So, welcome to the show. It's been a long time, been a while. As promised, delivered. We're here with live commentary. Tonight, particularly, I'm in the mood for a little bit of teen horror. So, I'm going to be doing a live commentary on Sleepaway Camp, the 1983 film, the original, the old school film. Now, there were four. No, was it five? I believe yeah, five films in this franchise. Uh, thought was amazing. Good job. What I wouldn't say for the whole franchise, definitely not for the whole franchise, but the first film itself, particularly, it was a okay, decent film for me. It was cool. I'm not a huge fan of the whole entire franchise of the Sleepaway Camp. The first one I definitely remember. The other ones I will be honest. I actually didn't watch the one right after the first one. I think after the first film, after Sleepaway Camp, the first one, I just I got what I got out of it, and it was something cool, but it was not nothing for me to keep going back into it. Uh, but I will say, however, it is a film, old school classic. We're going to talk about. I know right now everyone is talking about what makes a horror film or what makes a movie a good movie, but we have to understand that during different times and different eras, of course, movies and production, theater, all the theatrics, staging, all these things were different. So we have to take and appreciate certain quality for what it is. So we have to always remember that and take that into account. Um, before I get in, though, I want to just give it a minute before I actually go in. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit, just anything, just random stuff. Of course, this is the first live stream for me in a while. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. You guys know that I mainly do recorded uploads. But I have been getting a lot of you guys requesting me and asking me to do live streams. So I will be, as promised, I will be implementing live streams back into my schedule. I do have a busy schedule, but I'll manage with it and make do with it. Um, let's see. Wow. If we're talking about, first of all, horror films, since we're on the topic at hand, I've watched a lot of horror, a lot of horror films between the past month or two. Mainly from September all the way into where we are in October. I've been watching a lot of horror films, and I have to be honest. Some of those horror films, oh my god, I will have to say, some of those horror films, they wasn't the best of horror films. It's not something I would recommend. But I've seen them through and watched them, even though there were some that was hard, very hard and difficult to see it all the way through. I mean, oh man, I was like just over over exhausted with some of these films, But that's good old that's movies, that's horror for us, all the horror fans. But there were some decent ones, some good ones, a lot of old school films, a lot of films that I have saw that I got a chance to catch back up on. But then there were some that I haven't seen that I watched. They were okay, bootleg. Some indie films, definitely. You guys know, I'm a very huge fan of a lot of the indie films. I like all those overseas films. Those films are really good, especially pertaining to horror. I think they do produce a lot of good film, got a lot of good works, but it goes overshadowed by a lot of the American films. But it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. Um, Other than that, you guys, yeah, I've been busy, been a lot of busy. My schedule has been very busy, so I'm not able to constantly just be up on things how I would like to be up on things. Or should I say be uploading everything. I'm not able to do it all the time, but I managed to make a way to, you know, do what I do. As I said, though, I am going to eventually start doing more uploads for you guys doing live streams. Also want to let you guys know I do have it open. The live streams will be for open discussion. So even if I'm having to watch alone, you guys are more than welcome to jump in. The link to the actual movie 1983 film Sleepaway Camp is available right now inside the comments. You'll see the link to where I believe you can watch it on YouTube. Also, the link, if you guys want to join into the show, whether you want to show your face or not, just if you want to just talk about anything, you have anything you want to discuss or talk about right now, just more than welcome to jump in and join the show. I know there's been one thing I just want to touch quick bases on. I don't want to go too deep in this because I know a lot of people have talked about it a lot, and I know we're probably getting tired of it already. But the Halloween Kills film, it's been out for a few days now, and I've seen a lot of. I've listened and heard a lot of rumors, seen a lot of the feedback, seen a lot of the backlash. As I said, it's just what I expected. It is what it is. As I told you guys, the Halloween franchise, to me, the Halloween franchise is the franchise is pretty much it is what it is. Like I said, it's a traditional seasonal horror film. So seasonal horror film. So no matter what, no matter what people's expectation is of the film, it's always going to be a hell of a film. It's going to be a good franchise. It's going to always draw in audience because of the fact that it's the traditional seasonal horror film that has a long line of history to it, and that's just the way it's going to be. Regardless, every year when they keep putting out these Halloween films, not every year, but every time they do decide to put out a Halloween film, people are going to run into those theaters or even at home streaming. They're going to watch them no matter what. And then people are going to have their opinions and suggestions of the film. But as I said, the film is what it was. It wasn't nothing to get major excited about, but it was good. I enjoyed it. It was cool for what it was. It's just what I expected. So that's all I have to say about that. I guess what I'll do is I'll get right into the show. So this will be my first time actually doing one of these live streams where I'm just watching along. So I'll get right into the show. Once again, the link is available on the chat right now if you want to actually join along and jump in and watch, or if you want also the link to the live stream is in the chat as well if you want to jump in and join the show. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. As you know, I'll talk about whatever I want to talk about as we're going through the show. So without any further ado, let's get going. I want to jump right into it. Now, you guys, it's been a long time since I've seen Sleepaway Camp. Definitely a long time. Man, it's so long ago. As I said, it is what it is. It's a cool film. It's a decent film. It's not one of the best, but I like it. It's a good film. To be a classic American slasher film, it was a pretty. I will have to say, you guys, for this film, the Sleepaway franchise, as I said, there were some things that were just confusing and I did not get and quite understand from the first one. Well, I understood, but I just felt that there was some things that was left out in the first film of the franchise. And I was just wondering what was going on with that. And like the whole thing, the whole twist and narrative between the antagonist and protagonist, it just seemed like that was so simple. And it's like, I don't know, but now, as I said, you guys, for my first live watch along video live stream, just I'm in the mood for some, YA horror, some teen horror. I would have to definitely say Sleepaway Camp would fall actually under the subgenre of, I would consider this rated PG teen porn. Once again, I'm not lying, you guys, but when I watched this film, I remember watching this film for the first time. And from watching this film, what I could think of after watching this film is Sleepaway Camp, the original film, Sleepaway Camp, was a rated PG teen porn film. I'm not lying, you guys. I can't make this up. I cannot make this up. Hope you guys are doing well out there, just staying safe, being peaceful, just enjoying yourselves and being healthy. I always like to do that. I apologize, you guys. I didn't do that. Normally greet the people to see how you guys are doing. Always make sure. Want to hope everyone is doing all right, being safe, being respectful to one another. Now, what I could say from this franchise, you guys, Sleepaway Camp, is I would say that The actress, 52, I believe, yeah, she's 52 years old. Baker, I believe, yeah, she's 50, about 52 years old, if I'm not mistaken, right now. She's had a basically what we'll call a silent successful career. Um, she's been involved in a lot of films that people didn't wasn't aware of, that knew that she was involved in. But Baker was involved in around a lot of projects, a lot of mainstream projects. Maybe she may not have been on the forefront, on the front line, but she was involved in a lot of projects, and she's a producer. She's been involved in a lot of films. She's had a very successful career, but just a silent successful career. Of course, we may not have seen her mainstream out after the Sleepaway Camp. We may have not, and what was it, Return to Sleepaway Camp. We may not have seen her in a lot of films and a lot of projects and works like mainstream, but she's had a long longevity of a successful career. And it seemed like so long ago. This was many years ago when I watched this film. But as I always say, when you go back and watch some things, you'll always see something that you didn't notice the first time, maybe even the second time, or maybe even the third time. You'll always wind up uncovering or revealing something that you didn't see the first time or the second or third time around. Oh, yeah, as I said, you guys, I'm not a fan, not a huge fan of the Sleepaway Camp franchise, the trilogy, especially since there were multiple films, but I am a fan of the first film. I did like it for what it was. There just was a couple of things that I felt that was just that I think that wasn't all the way implemented out inside of the storyline in the movie in the film. But other than that, the film was good. I'll be honest, I didn't keep going with all the films in the franchise. Um, One of the things that I always question about Sleepaway Camp, the 1983 film, was to be what was the basically the antagonist. It was with Baker. Is through the whole film, we would already assume that she was going to be the killer. Then we come to find out that, well, by the whole film, you would see and think that she's the antagonist by way they kept leading it on throughout the film. But then to the end of the film, we come to find out that she was actually the antagonist, the villain in the film. It was like I thought that was just they made it too easy for the viewer, for the audience. Now, I remember watching this movie as a little kid, and I remember the question I had always asked, and I had wondered and pondered what was the reason that what made Baker character, what was the reason for her becoming like doing what she was doing at the camp? What was the reason behind it? I felt that they never did explain that. The only thing that was provided was maybe like they showed, like, of course, there was a lot of bullying going on. As I told you guys, this pretty much this film basically is a rated PG rated PG teen porn, horror teen porn film. That's what I just think it is. Basically, I'm just being honest. It's the truth. You know, don't censor me, YouTube, but I'm just being honest. This is a rated PG teen porn film. That's honestly what it is to me. But I thought of it as a kid, even as a kid. Man, that bring back memories too, because I know a lot of people, man. How many of you out there remember those days, good old days, if you have when summer camp and all that stuff. Yeah, I just couldn't get into this film when I was I didn't get all the way into the franchise as I wanted to, as I really could. It just was something about it. As I said, after the first film, I felt like after the first film, the Sleepaway Camp, the 1983 version, the old school version, um, I felt like that was enough for me. Even though from watching when you look at the ending of the film, you could tell obviously that there was possibly going to be another one in a near future. Um, but hey, man, before a second, let me go. I just want to let you guys know, man, this right here, Rockstar. I don't know if can you guys see this, but this Rockstar, man, this is a new brand. Rockstar, they have two new brands. It's this mango one, but then there's another one that's like a guava. I'm telling you, they are off the chain, off the hook. Them guava ones, them Rockstar guavas, they going hot like hot fish cakes. Yeah, the mangoes are cool. The mango Rockstars are cool, but I prefer that guava Rockstar. Man, that thing is off the man. Definitely banging. Highly recommend for warning, the disclaimer. Do not try to drink too many of them because I know a lot of people, they going like, you see them 1 minute, then they go on the next day in them stores. Like people be getting them real good. So, they hot right now, but don't drink too many at one time, even though they so addictive because man, you mess around and have a stroke or something around here. We don't want that. So to all you out there that are on them Rockstar guavas, just make sure you balancing it out. Don't go too crazy with them. Yeah, but that's what this was. Seeing how Sleepaway Camp, it was a slasher. It was a slasher, American slasher film, and what it was American slasher, but it based on specifically how a lot of certain classic and legendary horror franchises, what they based on, they were had that tradition of a slasher film, and then how the theme of it. That's how Sleepaway Camp definitely had a very, very, very good theme to it. And then that theme of, oh, you're a child going to summer camp, and then all these things happen, or all these things you get to see at summer camp. Everyone loved going to summer camp at some point. Maybe some people didn't enjoy it that much as others, but the majority of people love going to summer camp. It's where you can get away and where you can see anything, where anything can happen. There's no limit on to what you possibly could see at summer camp. So that's why as a kid they were so, you know and then this film was easy to very be easily the come in at the right time. The time it did come in to be an American slasher film, it came in at the right time, definitely. And of course, it was going to be a film. I think overall, it was going to be a film that was going to do well because of the fact that uh, just just the overall theme of in the backstory of this of the film. Now, now as far as Sleepaway Camp, I don't know about you guys, but curious to know who was you guys' favorite character. I don't know about you guys, but Ricky was my favorite character personally. I just like his whole just character and everything. I like Ricky. Now, which what I will say about this film, this film portrays summer camp as like the camp from hell. Like no child want to go to this to camp. Like children be afraid to go to camp because of something like this. Like it's just how these. If you look at how a lot of the kids were being treated and stuff by maybe some of the little older kids and everything, or the teenagers, how they supposed to be a supervisor and watch for the kids. It was a lot of like just kind of just man which you would not expect to be going on at no camp. But yeah, I would consider like Sleepaway Camp would be the camp from hell. Like no one would going to want to go to. See, that's the only really issue I had with Sleepaway Camp is like I said, there were a few things that I had with Sleepaway Camp, the original film, the first film, which is probably why I didn't follow through with the series, the franchise, all the way in general as a whole. It's because of the first film. There were some things that I just didn't all the way like. One of those big things and major issues I had with is that I didn't like how they kind of basically just portrayed it to us. I didn't like the way they portrayed it to us and how they didn't give us they didn't have us in suspense, even though they tried to have us in suspense and mystery to wonder who was the antagonist. It's like through the whole film, they pretty much just they spoiled that for us. So when we come to find out who was the antagonist at the end of the film, it was like, okay, well, that wasn't nothing to be surprised about. You pretty much showed us that through the whole film. That was just, I don't know. That's just me. That's just one of the things that I had an issue with the film. As I said, in general, though, I still liked the film. I loved it for what it was during the time it came out in the early 80s. I still love it, but I still have some things I didn't like about it. So I love it and hate it for what it is. Abusive. I don't think an adult is allowed to be that vicious with a child. I would have been at that would have happened at the camp I was at. I would have probably, I don't know, I would have probably had to throw a bow. What Ludacris be saying? Throw them bows. I would have to throw a bow at them. Talk about bad housekeeping. Major unprofessional. I mean, both of these guys, man, look at they outfits look so dirty. Them things look like they been using them every day, back to back to back, without washing them, no nothing. That's just ridiculous. The link is in the chat. You're more than welcome to jump in if you want. Open line discussion. Talk about anything you want to talk about. Anything has something on your mind. Any films you watched. To have a big old man ton of some boiling hot steaming stuff falling like that. Oh, I know that has to be excruciating. Oh. Oh man. Yeah, as I was saying a little while earlier, you guys, Felissa Rose, she's had a very successful career, a very successful career outside of her role as Angela Baker. She's had a successful career. It's just been a silent, successful career. Like I said, she's been involved in a lot of projects that if you guys may not be aware, it's just that she hasn't been on the front line, the forefront. So you know, but very successful career. She definitely acted her ass off in this film, though. She did a hell of a job. Now, I will say, you guys, there was one thing that especially when I was a kid, I remember watching this film for the first time. But I remember there was some things that, one of the things that I thought was, it always triggered me and bothered me. Not bothered me to where it was something wrong with it. It's just it triggered me. I knew something didn't seem right. But as a child, I was like, what I noticed by going back and watching the film, or when I was older, is that to come to find out that when you see this film way back then in the early 80s, this film was promoting the transgender whole thing. We not knowing that basically the antagonist from Sleepaway Camp basically is a transgender if you look at it, because it's like Angela was playing both Peter and her. I mean, Felissa was playing Angela and she was playing her brother Peter. So that was weird. Like, but I think back then as a kid, you're not seeing it, but you could see it, but you're not really paying attention to it. Because if you really look, guys, if you guys look at this film now, if you take a look at this film and you look at Felissa Rose um, playing playing the Baker girl, Angela Baker. If you look at her, you would look like, hey, wow, that she looks like a boy that just got on a wig or whatever and everything. So I just thought, like, yeah, if you guys didn't know, that's pretty much that's what this was. Now, as I said, I have nothing against anybody's ways or whatever their beliefs. No, whatever you want. Everyone has their own choice. I just wanted to point that out, that this was a basically transgender horror film. But what I'm saying is that when you look at Felissa Rose back then in this film, when you look at it, like, okay, wow, you could kind of debate like, what was she, a boy or a girl? Like, she kind of looked like a boy, just got on a wig and stuff. That's what I'm saying. So it's no disrespect to Felissa Rose, no disrespect whatsoever. I'm just pointing that out. But to come to find out years later that this is actually a transgender horror film. I just thought that was something that I wanted to mention, point out for you guys that were not aware of that. Yes, sir. Them shorts are a little way too tight. Them jean shorts, man. Them old school jean shorts, them are way too tight and way too short. I don't understand how they used to wear them shorts back then. Boy, I just don't understand that. Yeah, I just don't understand it. Yeah, guys, this rock stars, man. These new brand rock stars they got, mango and guava. There's two separate ones. Oh, definitely off the charts. Yeah. Now I really liked Felissa. Really liked her role in this film. I really liked her role. I really liked her performance in this film. I do think Felissa Rose, she did a hell of a job in this film. But my favorite character, as I said, I really liked Ricky. I really liked that character. Just definitely off the chain. I mean, because he played the middleman role where he was like he knew the kids, he knew them from because he's been to the camp already, but also he played the middle hand like the neutral where he didn't like that people were bullying Angela or picking on Angela, so he would always stick up for her and everything. So I just liked his character in this role. Jonathan Tristan, Jonathan Tierston, excuse me. I mean Jonathan Tierston, not Tristan, but Jonathan Tierston. He definitely did a good job in the performance of Ricky Thomas. Man, watching this baseball scene, man, this remind me of the old good old days we used to play baseball like the Sandlot, just like the movie, just how the movie Sandlot was. That's just how we used to do it. Just some old games that matter. Just go out there, play some balls. I think most people like, especially young boys, but I think girls too. But majority of boys, when we're young, that young, most of us do experience baseball. Back then we we're kids because it's just something about it. It's like when we play it back then, like the Sandlot, how we did it like that. It felt like we was already like in the major league, like we was just famous, like we was free to just play how we enjoy it, like. But I think a lot of us, when we get older, we don't like. It's not the same to us no more. Baseball is more like a traditional, I would say a traditional childhood, recreational sport. Yes, I'm sorry, Felissa Rose, but yes, definitely she did back then. When I look at this film, she did kind of look like she could have been a boy, just with them having a. She could have been an actual boy in real life, a male in real life, and they were dressing them up as a girl to play the role of Angela Baker. One thing I will say about this film, especially for Felissa Rose, is that it was hard for her. I mean, it wasn't hard for her to do this role. I think this character because pretty much the majority of the film she didn't really have no dialogue. The majority of this film, all her she pretty much just had to give those type of looks and stares. Like it wasn't really no dialogue. So I think it was kind of easy for her to do the role. I'm not saying it doesn't take a lot of work to get into physical action of certain roles and characters, but I'm just saying without her not really having no dialogue, like when even back then when I was a child, I remember like, well, she didn't really have no dialogue, so it was like it's like the whole movie they just had her just staring, 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 not saying nothing. Like, will you speak? Will you say something? Sometimes, yeah, Ricky, man, boy, that was my character, and as I said, yeah, that boy Jonathan Tierson, he did a good job with this role as Ricky. If you guys are interested in more classic films, classic horror, you can check out my classic movie series where I do different multiple episodes and I just throw out picks for you guys that I think are good classic horror films. Even some I'll give that's not good recommendations, but I'll still recommend it to you guys or not recommend it to you guys. But yeah, I do a lot of different episodes on pretty much a lot of different classic horror films. So if you're interested in that, I have a series for that. Go to the channel and check out the playlist, and you should find classic movie series. I actually have another one also I'm going to probably be coming up with soon. It's going to be another classic one, the Slumber Party Massacre, the original Don Dada classic film, the Slumber Party Massacre. I've already done it. It's already in my classic movie series where it's a recommended movie that I recommend you guys watch. But I'm actually going to may put that in and do a live commentary on that one where you guys want to check that film out. Just watch it. It's been a while since I've seen Summer Party Massacre, so I'm thinking about doing that. If you guys are interested in it, let me know. Slumber Party Massacre. I have a few other projects already scheduled that's coming up soon, but I may squeeze that one in too in between. We'll see though. Now let's say you guys the franchise Sleepaway Camp franchise it put out it put out a couple of follow up films. It's just that I don't think that the film I don't think the franchise went in went the proper direction to where it can keep keep the audience wanting more and keep the large audience constantly wanting to see the Sleepaway Camp franchise or even considering it or talking about it. When we hear of certain franchises like Halloween or Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, we hear franchises like this a lot of times uh, when the talking about horror when it's brought up, but you don't hear about Sleepaway Camp. It's just that it couldn't. I don't. It's just it were a lot of things about the reason why it couldn't be a solid one by itself like that and stand alone. As I said, I didn't keep up with all the films. I saw the first one and I didn't really see the second one. I didn't see the one after that neither. I think the only one I seen after the first one was the Return Sleepaway Camp, where we had Angela Baker back in the film, basically, where we had Felissa Rose back in the film. And I think probably that's why a lot of people may have when they did when it came out, Return to Sleepaway Camp in the 2008 film, Return to Sleepaway Camp. I think a lot of people watched that one. That one may have got a lot of exposures because we got to see Felissa Rose playing Angela Baker back in the film. But the ones in between the first film, the 1983 Sleepaway Camp film, and the 2008 film, Return to Sleepaway Camp, the ones between it, I don't think they just they definitely didn't get a lot of audience expanse on it. Me personally, I would be satisfied with just give me. I would be satisfied with them eliminating all the other films and just keeping the 1983 film and the 2008 film, Return to Sleepaway Camp. I think they just keep those two, deal away with the other ones, and I think that'll be enough. There sure were a lot of bullies at this camp, though. There were a lot of bullies, though. A lot of bullies. It's like almost like a lot of spoiled little brats. See what I'm saying, man? These like I said, this is like the camp from hell, man. Like the really the camp from hell. Just everything was going at this camp. And these counselors and stuff were just so disrespectful. So in this way, I know you would look at this film, we were like, well, would we have remorse for for Angela because of the fact that how she was being treated and how snotty these counselors, other kids, yet alone the counselors too, were being to her. So did she have a what did she was she justified, or can we understand her point of view of why she was sitting here snapping on people and stuff and doing what she was doing? As a matter of fact, Felicity Rose back then in the early '80s, Felissa Rose, she kind of looked like what's the dude from the what was it Alpha? She kind of looked like him, or like could be a relative or something, or she kind of looked like Alpha a little bit there. Ah, yeah, this was the Nightmare Camp from Hell. Mm. Robert Hiltzik sure didn't hold up with this film. Well, the direction they went with this film, I'll have to say he took it in a like it back then, especially looking at it, it was I would say it was extreme and hardcore. He kicked ass with this film. Robert Hiltzik, he kicked ass with this film. Yeah, these were some amazing, shitty ass counselors, camp counselors, definitely. Man, she really did deserve it. She would have won. Judy definitely deserved it. Like I said, a lot of these characters, man, they you don't feel no remorse from them. It's like they kind of deserved it. If you look at this whole film franchise, I mean, this film basically the part one, the first film, the 1983 film, it was only really two people that really looked out for Angela, and that was definitely Ricky, and it was the male counselor guy. They were really the only two looking out for her. Other than that, you had pretty much all the boys trying to like mess around with her and stuff. Like each one of them trying to attempt to get at her. And then you have everyone else being snotty to her, trying to bully her. Yeah, man. Yeah, Kirsten did a hell of a job with this role of Ricky. Oh man. Man, the dialogue for this scene, man, when Ricky going off on them when they up on that roof, man, was so vicious, man. I love this. One of my most favorite scenes of this film, man. When he be going off, man. Love the dialogue too. Man, it's crazy. Got Princess TV. Just says Camp from Hell, definitely. Oh yes, yes, definitely. It is the Camp from Hell, definitely. This is just like, oh my God, what is going on here? Crazy stuff. But yeah, definitely the Camp from Hell. Oh man. Wow. Oh. Whew. And this guy, like he just oh my, he was that kind like he was just killing me. He just sitting there just like, man, you got he just sitting there like, are you kidding me? You have to be kidding me. You can't just be sitting there like that. Mm. Just a heads up, you guys. My next live stream is set up and scheduled for, I believe, the 28th. Yes, the 28th of October. I will be doing my next stream. I believe that will be the have a I think I have two more scheduled. I know one is the Predators. The Predators, a heads up, the Predators is scheduled for November the 4th. Oh, I got it. And Return of the Scarecrow is scheduled for October 28th. So be looking out for that one. Return of the Scarecrow. Princess TV says thanks for the heads up, MJ. She was referring to about the upcoming streams. Yes. As I said, my next stream is scheduled for the 28th, which will be 3 days before Halloween. I believe Halloween lands on a Tuesday. So I believe so. What I'll be doing is to Return to Scarecrow. What is the best time? That's a good film, especially for the seasonal for the vibe. So we'll go into Return to Scarecrow. Give me just a second, guys. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. As I mentioned, guys, this is definitely definitely a rated PG teen porn film. I can't stress it enough and say it enough. That's what it definitely is. If you look at everything what went on in this film and how this film was, just all the scenes, you would definitely have to agree. A rated PG porn film that should have been banned to certain age groups. They're just snotty. Oh man, I have no remorse for some of these characters. Well, they deserved it. Well, they deserve what they got. That's why I say, you guys, fair warning: you do not. Best advice: stop that bullying. Do not be bullying people, because do you see what can happen? You could turn some people into psycho killers. Princess TV says, I wouldn't mind you squeezing Slumber Party Massacre in too. Oh, yes, 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 definitely. I think I might. It all just depends, As I said, I have a be very busy, like tied up with a lot of projects, personal projects, and I do have my screenplays and everything that I'm working on. Also, my teleplay. So I'm a definitely. So you guys know I'm a writer. Those of you guys know I'm a writer. So I do have my time isn't free all the time, but I think I might try to squeeze it in. We'll see. It all depends on how I feel. So if I can get it in, get the time, then I'll go ahead and throw in a Slumber Party Massacre. Anybody else want to see me or would like to see or like to do a watch along with the Slumber Party Massacre? Drop a comment, let me know. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream as well. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen this film, you guys. It's good looking back at it, though. As I said, I get to when you get to take a look back at films that you haven't seen in a while, especially when you're young compared to when you're a full adult, you get to start seeing some. As I said, you notice things and see things that you may have didn't recognize the first time around, and it also helps you even more appreciate certain things in certain films for what they were back then in a certain time frame. Because I know now we're in this new era, we have a lot of this technology, and the theatrical stage and setup and everything is all, it's different now. But we have to start appreciating some of the older films, classic films, some of the golden years films. Just start taking a look back and start appreciating them, because these films built the foundation for a lot of these films that you have now. And I just think that we should take the time to appreciate them. As you guys know, a lot of my content, I do content about classic films as well. I don't just, I'm all around with the films. I mean, that knife, that was right in the spine, but you know, yeah. Yeah, but I love Sleepaway Camp. I loved it for what it was, though. Like I said, I didn't follow the film all the way through with all the films, but I really loved Sleepaway Camp. I just think it was awesome the way it was put together, even the way Robert Hitz directed it and put it already staged it. But it was definitely, like I said, to me personally, you guys, it was a rated PG teenage porn film. I'm just, that's the only thing I could think of. But I appreciate it for what it was, though. I do appreciate it for what it was. Jamie Hart says, "Hey MJ, hey Jamie, thanks for tuning into the show." I mean, as I said, you guys, for Felissa Rose, she had a very successful career. It was a silent career, but it was very successful. Like I said, she wasn't in projects, a lot of mainstream projects, but under the table, uh under the table, she's been doing a lot of work, and she's been involved in a lot of projects, and she's had a very successful career. Jimmy Hart says, "Asks, have I seen this movie before?" Yes, I saw Sleepaway Camp before, but it was so long ago, Jamie. I don't remember the age, but I know I was very very young, too small to be watching a film like this. But seeing how I'm a huge horror film, was able to watch it, whether I snuck and watched it, but I watched it. But it was so long ago. Definitely looking back at it now, I'm seeing things that I didn't notice way back then. Yeah, watching this film, it just bring back some like it bring back those memories of that song. I don't know how many of you guys, as I said, I remember myself. I did used to go to, and I used to attend. I definitely used to attend the summer camps. I've attended camps. I know about it, but it's just this film was definitely like to the extreme. You're talking about, like I said, the camp from hell, like like all this stuff was going on. But as I think, as most of us that did go to camps, I think we all can agree that we did get to see things from camp that we may not, that we didn't get to see at home. We just, it was nothing, no limit to what you could see at camp. But I think the way this was portrayed, oh, was definitely just hardcore extreme. Yes, definitely. Jamie Hart says the end of the movie messed her up. Yeah, definitely. As I mentioned earlier in the show, that was one of the things. So the ending was really what the ending was one of the things what I really had an issue with. I love the film. I love the film, but I just had only a few things that I had an issue with, and the ending was one of them. I just like the way it ended, and it was just my main thing was, as I said, it was more of like it's almost like they led us through the whole movie to they with the suspense. There was no suspense to who the killer was, the antagonist. So when we come to find out that it was young Angela, it's like you guys led us to that through the whole movie, so it wasn't surprising. I thought it would be a more different surprise who the killer would be, but that ending was yeah. Jamie says she saw it on the big screen. I wish I could have. I wish I could have got the opportunity to watch this film on the big screen. But at that time of age, I definitely would not have been able to get in the theaters to see it or get it on the big screen. I would have liked to, though. When I first saw this film, I definitely had to sneak to see this film. But I was doing it at that time with a lot of films. I had, because we weren't allowed to watch films back then. I remember if it was a certain rating, you weren't allowed to watch them. But I always found the way to watch them. I will say this, you guys: the kill scenes in this, the kill counts in these, and here, not just the kill count, but just how the kill scenes. They didn't hold back on these kill scenes. For what they were during that time frame in that era of film and television. They It was a good job by the director Robert and the rest of the people behind the production and theatrical setup of the film. It was very good staging. The kill scenes was definitely, they were pretty decent. Once again, if you guys are wondering what I'm drinking, once again, it's the new rock stars they have. This one is the mango, and they also have the guava one that's available. The guava one is my favorite one, though. You know what, you guys? That this like how I told you guys that Ricky was my favorite character. It really pointed to what Jamie said about the ending of the film, how it messed her up. That was one of the parts of the film that really almost like would mess me up when I remember watching this film was Ricky. When I thought, man, I really thought that he was dead or he was going to get killed by that adult. Like, because he just thought that he was the one going around doing this stuff and killing people, but he wasn't. And it was just, I really thought he was going to get like really, and I was like, oh man, I just really wanted to reach into that screen and do something to that elder guy. Like, if you don't stop it, not Ricky. She got her good right there with that acid, whatever she got her with on that bed. Like, she got her real good. Jamie Hart says, I saw this in a local art house theater at Halloween time in 1986 when I was 13. I could have gone without having to see the supersized uh, junk, but I disagree. I'm sorry, I digress. But yeah, as I said, these in this film, these these actors, the male actors, or should I say the actors? Well, they were wearing some of them tight jeans them way back in the days. They were so like, could you breathe in them? They were tight and they were so short. I'm like, they almost went up to where the hip bone was. I'm like, oh my god, is that a little too short? But that goes back to what I said about this being, to me personally, I think this is a rated PG teen porn film. Oh, that was hilarious, Jamie. You're so hilarious. That was a good one. Jamie says dudes were wearing short shorts back then. It was a terrible time in fashion for fashion. Yes, definitely. I would definitely have to agree with that. Definitely a horrible time. I just don't see how they was doing it back then. Like, it was just too much. Yeah. Oh man. it makes me wonder now, looking back at a film like this, at Sleepaway Camp, the 1983 film. It really makes me have a different perspective of when I watched it way back when I was a child. It's like when you look at it now, like as I said, like you kind of feel you kind of know that what she's doing, what Angela was doing, was bad, especially when you come to find out that she was the actual killer. I think that's what broke a lot of people's hearts too. It's like that's what I said about the movie. But the only thing I had a problem with is that they kept leading us on to like she was one of them prime suspects. And we kept watching the movie. I was young back then, and I realized that like I'm good at doing that. So as I kept watching the movie, I'm like, you guys are leading it on too much. Like, is she the killer? Because how she used to always act and be real silent, just staring in these crazy looks. But then you get to the end and you just find out that she is the killer. I thought that was not surprising enough, but it was still heartbreaking to find out that she was the killer, you know, because you kind of feel for her because she was being so bullied and everything. Like, it's just like, I can understand. I know people can feel, especially being at a camp, being away, and you're amongst all these other peers and, people that's supposed to be looking out after you guys, counselors, and just a lot of bullying and just picking and just all kind of naughty things going on. But some of these characters, they deserve to get picked off, boy, because they were going to the extreme, being very snotty. So we're towards the end of the film, you guys. We're getting there to the end. This is where I know there's a lot of different opinions, mixed opinions regarding the ending of Sleepaway Camp. This was it was heartbreaking. Oh, Jamie says her aunt is a her aunt is a wacko. You absolutely right, Jamie. Oh man, the aunt. Oh, the aunt definitely yes. I mean, from the opening scene, not the very first opening scene, but the after the opening scene when they show the aunt calling them downstairs, I just automatically knew right there. Okay, this lady is weird. Like, what's wrong with her? See, this is where I had the problem right here. Like, oh my god, oh man. Well, we came to the end. That was the end of the film, you guys. That was the end. We got to the end. I have to say, looking back on it now, appreciating it for what it was, but seeing some things I didn't notice the first time. But as I said, this overall, I like the film Sleepaway Camp. I'm a huge fan of this franchise. Well, should I say the first film? I'm a huge fan of it. I didn't really follow through with all the films in the franchise. I did watch the 2008 film where they brought Felissa Rose back in the film, but I didn't go all the way. I don't know. Um, My thoughts of it, like, looking back at it now, is the only thing I could think of is just, appreciating some of the art, some of the work by, these creators, these producers back then, how their minds worked back then, just appreciating for what it was. Because, everything is totally different now. The technology is so great and so awesome and amazing. And I just think that, sometimes it's good to give some shouts out and look back on some of the stuff that what built and what led up to what we have now and right now, what's going on with all these films. Um, as I told you guys, I highly recommend a lot of people should take a look back whenever they do get time to start looking at some of these older films, some of the classic films, some of the classic horror films, some of the golden age films, and just start appreciating for what they were. And you can see, of course, like we said, the involvement of the technology and how the films are crafted, as far as the theatrics, the staging, everything. Just, you could tell it's all different, but this film in the franchise, when looking back at this film now, I would definitely say that my mind hasn't changed. I would say that the first film in this franchise, Sleepaway Camp, the 1983 film, is still my favorite film. And as I said, I would have been satisfied with just Sleepaway Camp, the first one, by itself. I didn't need the other films to follow up with it. I was fine with that. But like I said, the franchise, I mean, it was good for being an American slasher film and for what it was, what it stood for. It was good. Full of definitely teen porn. It is what it was. We've already been going. How long we been going right now? We're almost about a minute, hour and 40 minutes right now, you guys. I'll be getting ready to wrap it up in several minutes. Just want to give out some closing thoughts. The one thing I do want to say, also want to thank everyone for tuning in, being in the building. As I told you guys, this is just the first of many streams to come. Just getting it started. Have another live stream coming up on October the 28th, which I'll be looking at in live commentary of the Return of the Scarecrow. All of you guys more than welcome to join in, watch along. The lines will be open for open discussion as well. Also on November 4th, I'll also have another stream that will be scheduled. We'll be taking a look at the Predators movie. Other than that, that's my plans. Other than that, that's pretty much because I have a busy schedule. I'm always tied up. I do have a screenplay that I'm actually in the process of finishing it up. So a lot of my time, sometimes when you guys don't see content from me, it's because I'm busy with my projects. As I said, I did have a request by Princess TV. She recommended, she said she wouldn't mind seeing me throw in the Slumber Party Massacre. I'm thinking about it. If I do, I might jump that in and squeeze that in before or right after the October 28th streaming of the Return of the Scarecrow. I might boost it up before the Return of the Scarecrow live commentary and go ahead and just throw in the Slumber Party Massacre. If you guys are interested in seeing or watching or follow along with the Slumber Party Massacre, just drop a like or even drop a comment. Let me know if you're curious to want to see it. As I said, Sleepaway Camp, it was definitely a good film. There's not really no negative things I could say about this film. I liked the film overall for what it was. The only issue I had with it was the excess of basically the ending. I didn't like the way the ending was kind of how it ended. I think they could have let the film go a little longer and just ended the film a little bit, just gave us a few more scenes and let the end film end like that. Also, I wish they didn't kind of how Felicity Rose's character, Angela, throughout the whole film. It's like, when we're watching a horror film or any type of film, especially a horror film or thriller suspense film, when we're seeing a film and then you start seeing someone being killed and everything, as we're looking as an audience, we're viewing and we're like, oh, the suspense of you want to find out who's going to be the killer. But when it's being portrayed throughout the whole movie, all through the whole movie, your suggestions, because whenever you're watching a movie, everyone already has their suggestions about who they think the killer is or who's not, or the villain or whatever, etc., etc. And I just think they overshadowed. I mean, not overshadowed, but they showed it too much. They gave us too much. Like it was a surplus of revealing the killer to us, that it was actually Angela. I think we all knew that it was Angela. If a lot of us didn't think it was Angela, it's probably because we didn't want to feel we didn't want it to be Angela because of what we saw what Angela was experiencing. Other than that, the film, to me, it was definitely a good film back then, worth the watch. I definitely enjoyed it back then as a kid, and I enjoyed it now, taking a look back now. I think I'll get ready to wrap things up. That's all pretty much. I don't think I have anything else to cover right now. As I said, you guys, this was just be patient. This was the first live stream that I've done in a long time. So there will be many, many more. They'll just, I have to make sure I have the time to do them. Thanks for you guys once again, for those of you guys that tuned in. Want to give a shout out to Princess TV. Want to give a shout out to Princess TV for definitely for being in the building. I want to give a shout out to Pass the Sticks for being in the building. Shout out to Jamie Hart for being in the building. And Jamie Hart, if y'all make sure you go follow Jamie Hart. If you have not, go follow her page, Jamie Hart, and you'll see she does a lot of vlogs, and she also does some streams. So make sure y'all go check her out and subscribe to Jamie Hart. Other than that, that's all I have for you guys. So until next time, I want to thank you guys for tuning into the show. Peace.